All right. Welcome to the This Week in Sports History podcast. Probably should have messed it up on my very first introduction of my very new show. Super excited about this show. Super excited to be working with a comedian that I respect. Folks, I am Justin Wood. I am one of your hosts, and we are here with me and Patrick Keane. How you doing, Patrick?
Good to be here. Thank you, Justin. Good to see you, man. I'm doing great. Love it.
You too. You too. Just to explain what this podcast is we are going to go back in time pretty much in sports history and bring up stories that have happened this week in history. And at the end of each show, we will have a This Week in Sports Misery segment for and we got a good one for you this week.
I bet.
So big week in sports, Pat. Well, by the time this comes out, the Super Bowl will be played yesterday. But What are your plans for yesterday?
Well, my plans are, possibly Vegas to interview some people for a side project, but hoping to stay local here, either in Orange County or LA. But
How cool!
I really think, we'll know on Monday, but I really think the Chiefs. I know everyone's Niners are favored by 2, I think, but I think the Chiefs will pull it off. I think you're giving Andy Reid 2 weeks, and Mahomes is just a superstar. And I think the KC defense will slightly edge out the Niner defense, because I think it's going to be a lower scoring battle.
I think so too. And what I've just come to realize is you can't bet against the Chiefs. And trust me, I being a Bengals fan, like, I have animosity towards the Chiefs. But last week when they played or 2 weeks ago when they played the Ravens, I was like, there's no way they're beating the Ravens. The Ravens will probably win the Super Bowl. I don't see how any team could run with them. And that game wasn't even close.
Yeah, it really was. Was the final 21-7 or 28? It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just dominated. Like, it was more than that fumble in the end zone. It's just they dictated the pace and had Baltimore really frustrated.
Absolutely. I don't think probably wasn't the best game for Lamar not to show up either. So
yeah, it's going to be tough. It's only going to get heavier. That monkey is only growing, man. That monkey's feeding.
Yeah. So I don't really have plan. I think I'm just going to probably go to a bar and watch it. My boss, very generous, gave me Monday off. So
yeah, smart.
Yeah. I actually am doing a dry Super Bowl Monday to St. Patty's Day.
Oh, are you good? That's a good run.
Yeah, I did it this year in October, which was a challenge for me, like being in the heart of football season. But I was like, I got to see if I can do this. So
yeah,
I did it. As you saw the last comedy show we did together, I enjoy a good time, Pat Keane. I enjoy a good time.
Yeah, no, you let loose. You let loose. I was a little nervous when you're like, "Are we going next door?" And I was like, "Oh boy, I better get out of here."
Yeah. Well, I actually ended up at another bar after next door that I had no business being at. So, but it was a fun show. It was a good time.
It was a great show. It was a great lineup. My compliments, man. You put together a nice run of comics.
I was supposed to be there tonight, but it got rained out, and I'm not upset. I don't think there's crowds tonight for rain. So
yeah, it's good. Yeah, you always forget about the crowd for some reason. I'm like, oh wait, people aren't going to come out. Like the show and the comics, and you're like, oh wait, nobody's coming tonight. So yeah, you're good. You're off the hook.
And driving from the Valley to Santa Monica, that's not a no. I am beyond happy. I'm glad that we're finally knocking this podcast out. Sweet. I'd rather be with you, Pat Keane.
Oh, I love it, man. Likewise. Good to be here on Twish.
Twish. We got the merch. Well, probably, by the time this comes out, probably Wednesday, we'll have at least 3 million followers, you think?
I think so. I think we'll break 3. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's play this. Pat Keane.
Yeah, buddy.
This week in 1893, Vanderbilt University claims it participated in the first organized intercollegiate basketball game at the Nashville YMCA gymnasium. The final score of said game, Vanderbilt beats YMCA 9-3.
9-3 is some very white basketball.
Yeah. I was like, it's Hoosiers. It's the
Yeah,
movie Hoosiers. Like,
yeah, that's a lot of running out the clock. That's before. Slavery was over, so black players should have been able to participate, right? Or was that a whole nother thing? I don't know, but clearly there were no black athletes in this game.
like I understand that Vanderbilt, probably back in the day, typically white college, but YMCA, like I figured, YMCA University, like
Yeah,
they're for the community. So I'm very surprised that what roster they brought that only, and I wonder if it was a 3-point. No, there's no 3-point line, so it had to have been maybe 3 foul shots or maybe an and one. No,
yeah. one and one. That's it. Yeah, one and one.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, there's no gymnasium in YMCA. So is the gymnasium? I guess they built that for this game because there's no place to play it. They don't know, like, right? If there's no like, I don't know. Is it a makeshift where baskets? I think baskets were originally baskets, like
Yeah.
picnic baskets that they
Yeah.
just tore out the bottom or something.
So I wonder if they put them on like the walking track.
God,
If just in the middle of it, there's just
yeah, I mean, because James Naismith, who invented it, was like a Massachusetts guy.
yeah.
So this is okay. First organized intercollegiate. So there was maybe pro basketball before this happened.
I'm blown away by intercollegiate and YMCA. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't count as an intercollegiate game. That's
Yeah. The YMCA. Yeah, that's not two colleges.
yeah. What are we talking about here?
Oh Jesus. So that's 1893. So that would have been early February of 1893. I'm trying to think what else was going on. Well, William McKinley became president, and he won the election in 1892. So he might have just had his inauguration.
How do you know this?
Yeah, that's what. Who knows? Why do I know that? But so that's interesting times. We were about to get into we were about to fight Spain over Cuba and the Philippines.
Yeah,
I think so. So that's what's going on. I wonder if Bargatze's a big Vanderbilt guy, Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
I wonder if he knows that they participated or claim to have participated in the first ever college basketball game. I don't know if he knows that.
I wonder if he has any family that might have been in it.
Perhaps, man. He runs deep. I think his family's been in that area for a long time. Do you think there were fans? Do you think people watched the game? I mean, did they even know what the sport was? I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder how ticket sales were.
Yeah.
I wonder if
2 for 1, like no cover charge.
Were they just passing them out? Like, do they go door to door passing? Because you don't make flyers for that.
No. Yeah, I don't know if you paper the room or what. But yeah, you can get people in free guest list.
Yeah.
2 drink minimum, all ages welcome. I don't know. Vandy, the South, maybe people don't drink, but yeah, interesting, man. I don't know. And how did it catch on? I wonder if it caught on after that, or was it like, oh, we better give this, some trial and error, maybe 2 years,
maybe
another one of these. But I guess, how old is the NBA? I mean, was the NBA around yet?
I don't know. I probably should have looked that up.
Yeah, I mean, this is just
horrible rundown on my part.
Let me see how long the NBA has been around. NBA started. NBA history. Let's see. NBA. What is the history of the NBA? Yeah. Oh God. Well, it was founded in 1946.
Oh, these guys were horrible then, I bet.
Yeah. So, I mean,
they had nothing to look forward to.
You're talking about half a century before that. So,
yeah,
man. Wild. Yeah. Yeah. And the automobile doesn't come around for what, 17 more years? So
how are they getting there?
Yeah, it's interesting because the Scopes trial was in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I think Tennessee and maybe the South takes a hit for denying Darwin and evolution and stuff, but got the first basketball game here. They should be claiming.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're involved.
Vanderbilt's really missing out on the merch. Like there should be so many Vanderbilt basketball hoodies.
Yeah.
And the Nashville YMCA University is just
yeah, it should definitely be. And their mascot is the Commodores. Is that right? The Commodores?
I believe so.
So yeah, so Commodores. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so who's it? Cornelius Vanderbilt. When did he live? Because was he a basketball fan? Let's see, Cornelius.
Might have been his son. His son was probably team captain.
Yeah, because Cornelius was around well before that. I mean,
yeah,
he had died in 1877, the Commodore. So he'd been dead 16 years by the time.
Now, is that too long before? Can you still wear the black tape on the jersey for him on the first game, or do you think?
I'm sure there was some kind of tribute.
Yeah,
I'm sure Cornelius, and then, but was he alive when Vandy was founded? Let's see, Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt University was founded in 1873. So 4 years before his death. So for the last 4 years of his life, he got to die knowing there was a university named after him. That's crazy because a lot of people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, in his own lifetime, he got to be honored. Cool for him, but as a captain of industry, I'm sure there are questions about morality and how he made his fortune.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, in the 1800s. You know.
I can almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to get anyone canceled. It is. Yeah, but we have some questions, Vanderbilt.
So.
And also 9-3.
Like, dude, that's a lot of working for that's like a little league. That's like little kids. Yeah. How high were the baskets? 14 feet, maybe, man. You know?
Yeah, they had to have been playing by ones.
Yeah, or maybe half.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it was their game. It was their
game.
They were
playing by ones at that point. You think? Yeah, because free throws. I mean, so much of it.
Oh, I doubt there are any fouls in this game.
Yeah. They
Travels, double dribbles.
Yeah. The YMCA. So is that like a men's group? Who fielded that team? You know what I mean? That's like men versus guys in their 20s and 30s versus kids in college.
Yeah, intercollegiate though. Like,
let's see how long the tournament's been around. And we don't
know.
Yeah.
I want to know the eligibility requirements too to be on that YMCA team. I doubt they were in class. Like there was no grade point average that they had to uphold to play for the prestige Nashville YMCA University.
So the NCAA, yeah, dude, can you imagine? The NCAA tournament started when did NCAA tourney begin? What year did they start the NCAA tournament? In 1939. So that's right when Hitler was coming to Poland. You know, nice distraction while we sat that out for a while.
Yeah. So congratulations, Vanderbilt, on being our first story ever on our world famous podcast. So
first topic ever, Vandy, first college game.
We got some questions though. We got some questions about that.
Yeah.
Pat Keane, in 1949 of this week, Joe DiMaggio becomes the first $100,000 a year baseball player for the New York Yankees.
It's incredible. God, that amount of money in that day and age. Can you imagine?
No.
I'm trying to think what else is going on around that time. Let's see. Around that time, Well, World War II's been over. 1949, the Chinese Civil War is going to come to an end. So the nationalists are about to leave China to go start Taiwan,
Yeah.
formerly known as Formosa. So that's a big deal. But 1940, so he had already won a couple World Series at that point, right? Like, let's see how good he was, Joe DiMaggio.
Is this he was with Marilyn Monroe, wasn't he? Weren't they?
Yeah, he was married, but God, 1949. I mean, she didn't come onto the scene until the early 50s, I thought, or no, mid 50s.
Yeah.
So I wonder how old he was when they were married. Let's see, Joe DiMaggio. Okay, so he started with the Yankees in 1936. So my God, by the time he was getting that contract, he had been in the league 13 years.
Wow, he earned it.
Yeah,
all $100,000. Does it surprise you that it was the Yankees of all teams? Like they, for some reason,
no. I mean, they were loaded. You know, he was young when Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig were on the scene.
Yeah.
Young, and then he was kind of the bridge between those guys and Mickey Mantle, who would come along in the 50s. But that was he was done with the Yankees after 51. So he needed 2 more years. He won the World Series 9 times, Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, then yeah, well-deserved contract.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny that now you have college kids that aren't nearly the athlete that Joe DiMaggio was, making that in a month. So
that's insane. Yeah, the NIL deals in college, and maybe even high school. I don't know, but
for sure. I mean, if it's not here, it's coming. Like,
yeah. Okay, so let's see when he was married to Marilyn Monroe here. What years? Wow, he died in 1999. That's not too long ago, really.
No.
He made it to 84 years old. He was in the Air Force, served from 43 to 45. Okay, and then let's see marriages. Let's see. He was married to Dorothy Arnold, and then Marilyn Monroe. They eloped at San Francisco City Hall in 1954. So that's 3 years after he retired.
Yeah, she wanted that. She wanted that big pay too.
Yeah. The union, I don't know which union this is, the baseball union. They each expressed to reporters their desire to start a family. Immediately after the skirt blowing scene. Oh, they fought after the 7-year itch scene where her skirt flies up.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's jealous type, it seems like.
Yeah. Yelling battle.
Oh.
Filed for divorce in 54. So they made it. Oh, wow. They made it almost a year. They made it about 10 months, these two.
The OGs of the Hollywood marriage.
DiMaggio underwent therapy, stopped drinking alcohol, and expanded his interests. Yeah, 9 months of marriage, they made it. That's it, man. Yeah. 9 months. So is Kelsey and Taylor, is that long term, or is that gonna fizzle out? That's been about 6 months they've been dating.
Yeah, I think they're good to go. I got an uncle that she's CIA according to him. I don't know if you knew that, but this is an all set up plan. He's one of those, like, legit. I got an uncle that thinks all this, that it's the NFL is behind this. Really, it's not a real relationship.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. Taylor's a part of the CIA, and the NFL is using her because their ratings have flopped since people started kneeling. So that's how they're.
I can't imagine ratings flopping for the NFL. It seems bigger than it's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
The Super Bowl. We're talking about having the next day off.
Yeah, I got my boss is like, take it.
Yeah. Am I naive for thinking the Super Bowl is huge? I mean, it's enormous. Like, it's the one night of the year a comedy club can't really be open. I mean,
yeah,
you're rolling the dice there because it just nobody comes out for that.
And I don't think it's the two teams that America really wanted. I do think I thought sorry, I mean, we're going to talk. It's Super Bowl week. We can do this.
Yeah.
I do think that America was behind the Lions. Like we all jumped on that. Like we're like, this is something new. It's the underdog story. Like they haven't been here in so long. The
Yeah.
Barry Sanders documentary was incredible. Like made me a huge Barry Sanders fan now.
Mhm.
Like I forgot just how good he was. And and then watching that and just all the Dan Campbell, it's hard not to like that guy.
Love
So it's
that guy.
like I feel like unless you're a 49ers fan, America was everyone wanted to see the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man, that was brutal. That was rough. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, that was tough. I was really pulling for the Lions. I lived in Michigan as a kid. That's where I started
Yeah.
before I moved to California. So, yeah, there's a lot of tough memories, playoff losses. 1982 was tough. Was that 82 or it was 83? Yeah, it was the end of 83. The Lions were in San Francisco, missed a last-second field goal, and Joe Montana and the Niners went on to lose to the Redskins. But just the same, it was a tough divisional loss on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the rematch nobody wanted. So kind of bums me out.
Now, do you have like I know that we're both just sports fans, but do you
Yeah.
have allegiances to any teams? Like I've never asked you that before. Like,
Yeah,
do
I
you
mean,
have
I like the Detroit teams, and then I like having gone to junior high and then high school in Southern Cal, and then being here like in primary years, stint before that. Yeah, I like the Rams, and the Raiders were both here. I like them.
Yeah.
And my brother, I love the Dodgers. I love your hat.
Thank you.
My brother worked for the Dodgers.
Okay.
I used to watch. I loved when Kirk Gibson came from the Tigers from Detroit
Yeah.
to the Dodgers. I remember watching Dodger games late at night in Michigan as a kid,
Yep.
and I was just like, "Oh my God!" There's something about the air, the film of the camera lens, the moment, the dark night. I'm like, it's like midnight, and you're a kid, and I'm like, they're playing baseball somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Serious and cool. So I always loved that. And so yeah, I guess the Tigers and the Dodgers, and then my dad went to graduate school at USC.
Okay.
So I follow them a little bit too. But
Yeah.
I really think I just love sports. I
Yeah.
love. Sorry, I love
Shot
transcends.
clock.
Yeah, it's like the Academy Awards telling me to wrap up. So yeah, but yeah,
No,
SoCal pretty much.
yeah. I just got back into baseball last year. My job, I sell sports memorabilia, and my boss actually represents Sandy Koufax. He represents Clayton Kershaw. So we had the Dodgers rookie James Outman came through and did some signings and stuff for us.
Right.
So we have all this Dodger stuff, and it was hard just not to get back into baseball. And then just my job is affiliated around a lot of the Dodgers, so I was like, I'm I'm a new Dodgers fan. Like it was casual at first, and then it was like I became, I was pissed that I have to get Spectrum to watch it, and started going to the bars to watch it, and I was like, oh wow, look at me. I can name over 4 players on this team. I guess I'm a fan now. Like,
Pretty good for nowadays. Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
here comes Ohtani. I'm really what do you with Ohtani, do you think that how many championships makes this worth it?
I think two. I think two.
2?
I mean, you're going to spend the money anyways, and
Yeah.
with the Japanese population in LA alone,
Yeah.
it'll be kind of a shift. It'll be cool to see, um, and it's fun. He's a superhero, man. Like not only a great player, but just handles himself so well off.
Yeah. You
And
never hear of him. I mean, he does it right.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, the Yankees. Look at those big budget teams. I think A-Rod won one World Series.
Mhm.
'09 they won one. Um, But yeah, the Dodgers, yeah, just win two and we're good. And even if not, it's entertaining to have somebody
Yeah.
there and a scapegoat to be like, we spent all that money on this and we're not even winning World Series. I mean, they really need to win a playoff series. Jesus, last 2 years they've been bounced so early after great regular seasons.
Yeah. Well, I will give you the word on our first podcast, a good special announcement. We do have a suite at the stadium, and I will definitely have you to
I'd
one
love
of
it.
the games next.
Yeah.
Dodger games is so much fun, just
Oh,
the
great.
atmosphere, everything. And I am intrigued. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be able to go on opening day, That's just going to be
That's
crazy prices for tickets. But no, I'm excited about it. And sorry, that wasn't this week in sports history.
Well, so DiMaggio, yeah. I mean, if you were, DiMaggio for the Yankees, and then Mays was playing for the Giants, or no, Mickey Mantle. It was like when the three big guys were Mickey Mantle. So this isn't Joe DiMaggio. It's Mickey Mantle, and it's God, Duke Snyder was the Dodger guy, and then and all three of them were center fielders.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, you had DiMaggio, and once you're the center fielder doing that well for the Yankees, I mean, he was on camera the rest of his life, and making money, like kind of like a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. You become a brand.
It comes with it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We got a little off track. That's going to happen a lot with this podcast. But hey, we're talking sports. Everyone, we're talking sports. Relax. If you want to, we're doing it. Hey, Pat Keane, want to hear what happened this week in 1960?
God, I'd love it. So it's early 1960. It's
1960.
January, early February 1960.
Yeah. Boston Celtic Bill Russell becomes the first NBA player with 50 rebounds in one game. He had 51 rebounds this week.
That must have blown minds. I mean, how far the game has come since 1893 in Vanderbilt.
He had more rebounds than they had combined points.
Yeah, that's
in the first quarter, probably.
I mean, that must have been, and he was a defensive guy. He was a guy that would watch film or whatever resources were available. He studied the opponent's tendencies like nobody had ever done in basketball. And I don't know that many guys do it now. Most guys are worried about shooting, staying in shape, their body, their brand. But he didn't get a lot of points in games from what I know. He'd get maybe 10, but he knew how to defend. He knew how to stop their top offensive guy.
Right.
He wasn't working on 3-point shots, baseline jumpers, I don't know, mid-range. It was defense. I'm going to clog this middle. And 11 championships later.
Yeah. So the first thing I did when I saw this tidbit was I Googled, is there video of this? And there is video of this game, because I was just introduced probably last year. I did the Dirty Sports podcast with Joe Prano and Andy Ruther. And have you heard about this conspiracy that Wilt Chamberlain didn't score 100 points? There's no cameras. There's no footage of this game. All there is just a picture of him holding up the sign that says 100.
Very interesting. I had no idea.
There's a rabbit hole. After we're done, and I admit, I don't know what to think anymore. That's how deep it gets.
Yeah. Wow, dude. And it's like the moon landing. It's like so embedded in my mind. I can't change that. I can't switch that off.
Yeah. So that's the reason I even put this tidbit in there, because there is video. This game was televised, so there is video. And also just 50. What do you think is more impressive, 50 rebounds or 100 points?
Oh, man. I'd have to think about that. I think they're both 7-footers or damn near. So in that time period, I got to think 100 points, because that's 50 shots.
Yeah,
at least, and you have to make them. I mean, getting 50 misses, which is what Bill Russell did. He got 50 misses.
Yeah.
But to hit 50 shots, I just got to go with 100 points, man.
I think you're right.
Yeah, just because it's no one's been close. I think Kobe got 81, but
and then
he got 81. I mean,
Luka got 73 or something the other night,
really?
on the anniversary of Kobe's death. I'm like,
oh wow, jeez.
Time to get deported. You can't do that in America, dude. Yeah. Wrong. Read the room, buddy. You don't do it on this night. Read the room.
Oh,
get them out of here,
dude. You got to talk about that on stage, man.
Yeah, I'm voting for whatever president wants to deport Luka. Get him out of here.
Yeah,
Cardinals sin.
But God, 50. I mean, I know Rodman after Rodman really started to explode after the Pistons kind of weren't winning championships anymore, but he
Yeah.
was in the team and dyeing his hair and stuff. He was starting to get like 20, 30 rebounds a game sometimes.
Yeah, and look, I'm not taking. I love Rodman. I thought
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah.
But what's funny is if you ever watch Rodman's highlights of his rebounds, a lot of those are offensive rebounds where he just keeps getting his own rebound, missing it on the way back up, coming back down.
That's
It's like you
funny.
got
True.
6 rebounds
Yeah,
tonight, sir.
yeah. You missed 5 layups, got 6 rebounds. That's one way to do it. Yeah.
I'm onto your games.
That's funny. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think anybody gets close to that kind of hustle now, rebound wise.
No.
So,
Yeah.
it's a good thing to teach. If you're coaching little league basketball or whatever, it's good to stress like worry about rebounds, guys, because there's going to be a lot of them. Get the rebound. Let's not worry about shooting so much.
We I mean, my grandpa, he was like always like basketball is my jam growing up. And I mean, I remember being little and one of the first things he ever taught you is how to box someone out. Like he showed me like where to put my butt, where to put my hands, like all of that. Like he knew and I'm 6'3", so he's like, you're a tall kid. You're gonna have a lot of opportunity for rebounds. So he was like real big on like showing us how to like the proper way to stand and where to watch.
From a young age, huh?
Yeah, where to watch the ball. Like if it hits this part of the rim, more than likely, like start running, like know right where to be and everything. Like he was real big on teaching, especially me, like being the tall kid, like where the rebounds are coming.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting some updates here. But yeah, I mean, those two guys, can you imagine? Because if you look at the clips, there's nobody as tall as Wilt and Bill in those days. I don't know when, probably in the late 70s is when the game finally caught up height wise. There was more. Kareem. Yeah. And then Dave Bing, I guess, with the Pistons. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Oh, we should maybe have a timer. Should we have a timer when
yeah.
PTI has a good timer.
Yeah, wrap it up. But in 1989, to gain deregulation, the WWF admitted pro wrestling is an exhibition and not a sport in a New Jersey court. So technically, I guess we can't really talk about this because it's not a sport. Ooh. But very interesting.
Yeah, so they didn't want to gain deregulation. And why did they want to gain deregulation?
I believe, and look, this was I tried to look it up real quick before we came on, but I'm pretty sure they didn't want an athletic commission because then you have obviously steroids, like you have drug tests, you have like, certain things that these quote unquote entertainers are doing that you could never get away with in professional sports.
I love pro wrestling for the same reason that I love like I love competing as an athlete when I played football and whatnot. But I love the pageantry of sports. I love the uniforms. I love the fan bases, the markets, the indigenous stuff, the history, and the showmanship and halftime shows. So like for me, professional wrestling is right there. Like, because they're like actors and athletes. I mean, to watch what Hulk Hogan does or all those guys, they have to fill a room with energy. They can't just go up and flex, which is also not easy. But they have to like talk big. They have to play a character. They have to commit. I mean, it's beautiful. It's athletic entertainment. So I'm glad that they did this. And I don't see any of them as lesser athletes for like what The Rock did. I know Rock got injured in college football at Miami, but what he has become is just I love it, man.
Yeah. I mean, he was just, and I was huge into wrestling in the 90s and early 2000s. And I remember like when he was just Rocky Maivia, like just like the third, just a third generation wrestling superstar, like had a Hawaiian look about him.
Yeah.
And he goes on to be like the #1 actor, like grossing actor in Hollywood, like on Ballers. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, okay, look, I get it. Is it choreographed? Yeah. Is it? Do you know? Is it a winner determined? Of course.
Of course, yeah.
But I do think that like I don't get as passionate as others do. Like, trust me, I've seen some really passionate people about it. I
Yeah.
don't get that much into it, but I do understand why they get aggravated when people are like, "It's fake." They're not getting hurt, and I'm like, "No, these guys
Oh,
are getting the
yeah.
living shit beat out of them."
Yeah. Back handsprings and
Yeah,
yeah. Pierce, I mean, all that stuff, right? Getting it
yeah,
to the face, and and they don't know. I mean, it's scripted, but they don't know what's going to happen in the moment. Are you friends with
absolutely.
Johnny LaQuasto at all? Johnny
Yeah,
LaQuasto. Oh yeah, he's
yeah.
great stories.
Oh yeah, I've like texted that stuff back and forth with him. Like if I have questions about today's wrestling, he's usually my go-to guy. Like
Yeah.
this guy will know.
They have it at the Irvine Improv down here. They have it once a month. They have like pro-am nights once a month.
Really?
Tuesday. Yeah, they clear out the room, they put a ring in there, and it's spectacular, man. It's
We
really fun.
I'm
It's really
definitely gonna come down. That sounds like a blast, actually.
Yeah, you should. I've been to about three or four, and there's another one March 12th, which I don't know. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but yeah, it's really fun, and men, women, um, I love it. It's just it's such a show. It's a circus,
Yeah,
and the bodies. These guys are amazing. I mean, they're athletes, they're bodybuilders, they're dancers. To
yeah.
acrobats, gymnastics. Like, so they're kind of three things in one there.
And I mean, still today, like you will watch like a WrestleMania and you'll see huge big name athletes like basketball, like professional athletes, like sitting ringside, like watching. Like I was talking to my coworker who his dad was Muhammad Ali's best friend.
Oh,
And
right.
he was telling me, like, how excited Muhammad was, like, when he got to go down and, like, be a special guest. I think it was, like, at, like, WrestleMania 3. Like,
So
his dad was like, "Muhammad, what this is wrestling." He's like, "No, you don't this is about to be an electric environment." And he stood by it, and I mean, even today in the introductions when it comes on, there's Muhammad Ali in a referee shirt, like
that's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Hulk Hogan got his launch, through boxing. Like, it was
Yeah.
Rocky 3, and he came Thunderlips, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What is this?" I mean, this is wild.
Yeah.
Love that. I love
He
that.
actually got kicked out of the WWF for a while for doing that movie.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah,
Just
he wasn't
against
supposed to do
union
that.
or something?
What's that?
Is that against union rules or something, or just
Yeah, there was something I think he was needed for an event, and he knew that Rocky 3 was gonna be I mean, I was already after Rocky 1 and 2, so he knew how valuable it would have been for him to be in that movie.
yeah.
So Vince McMahon Sr. kicked Hulk Hogan out, and then Vince McMahon was like, "No, no, no, we get back here. We're like,
Yeah, yeah, back. This is
we can't let this guy go." Like,
to me, there's no other, like, I know Ric Flair came before and The Rock came after and all these guys, but I think for him, what he did, and my age, I don't know what age you were at that time, but like,
yeah,
I was just so impressionable that it was just like, that was it for me. Like, he's the quintessential WWF, the Hulkamaniacs, the vitamins,
yeah. Well,
the
for me, true story, it was one Christmas, I, told Santa Claus, and, this is all set up, my parents set me up. Santa Claus is like, "Will you get off the bottle?" I was, like, 3, and I still wanted a bottle when I'd go to bed. And they're like, "Will you get off the bottle if I bring you a Hulk Hogan?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So my mom, she was like, "Okay, on Christmas Eve, I'm just gonna run out and grab a Hulk Hogan for him." There was, like, this huge snow downfall that night, and we're in Columbus, Ohio. And my mom is out trying to find a Hulk Hogan, and they're all sold out. She calls my grandma in Cleveland, which is like 3 hours away, and this is during a busy snow night. They have to meet halfway in Mansfield to, drop off this little Hulk Hogan wrestling figure because I told Santa Claus that I wasn't gonna do the bottle, and I, like, kept saying to that night when I went to bed, I was like, I don't got the bottle. I can't wait to have my Hulk Hogan tomorrow." So,
oh, dude, that's great. You knew, you
yeah.
held them, you held to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on a different bottle now, but
Right.
yeah,
Bribery works, man. Bribery.
yeah. Speaking of, we got one more headline, and then we'll get to our sports misery. And this one hits home. This one hits
Yeah.
home for me, being from Columbus, Ohio. In 1990, this week, in a huge upset, James Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson in the 10th round in Tokyo, Japan, to win the world heavyweight boxing title.
Unbelievable. I mean, no greater shock, I don't think, in my life for any sporting event than that.
No. And what am I looking for? It's always, that's the compare. Everyone's always like, man, that's a Buster Douglas. That's like any upset. Everyone always says like, but Buster Douglas.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. Was his mom sick or just
I
died?
think so. Yeah.
He's from Ohio, right? He's from where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Columbus, Ohio, like right, and that's where we lived at the time. And I remember it to this day. My dad went out to the bar with his friends to watch the fight, and me and my brother, like, we didn't really know. Like, we're just like, oh, this guy from Columbus is going to get knocked out by Mike Tyson. But people are excited. There's a guy from Columbus on TV, and me and my brother went to bed, and it was like 10:30 at night or something. And I remember me and my brother were sleeping, and my dad came in and like woke us up. He's like, "You guys would not believe what just happened. Wake up, come down here and watch this." Because this is back when the world was good and we only had news at
Right.
6, 11. Like, there was no 24-hour news source.
Yeah.
So he woke us up to come down and watch the 11 o'clock news for the sports, because this guy, like he was like, that was the first time I'd ever seen him like this excited about like something that happened in sports. But I remember, like, to this day, like waking up and like staying up to like 11:30 almost, because sports always came on last on the news. And I remember it was just like this huge deal that this title was coming. We went to the victory parade when he came home and everything. So like,
So cool. You know, I don't know. Tyson was unbeatable. Remember? I mean, he
yeah,
was invincible. So Buster wasn't even, it was supposed to be a foregone conclusion. I don't know if it's jet lag or what, or if he ate something sick or he just lost focus. I mean,
yeah, or just overlooked him. Probably didn't think
yeah,
he was, like you said, he was untouchable, and all of a sudden, like, and then it just sucked. Like, Buster Douglas
oh,
might
yeah.
have been the worst champion. Like, he
I
goes
mean,
on his next fight, Holyfield beats him, and then
oh, okay, yeah,
he just ballooned up. Like, it
yeah,
was sad, like, watching him like try and do like ads, like, because in Columbus he was doing like used car dealership ads after that, and it was just like that's not Buster Douglas. Like, who is this huge guy?
yeah. I remember didn't he take off to the Bahamas for a little bit or the Caribbean or something? There were
I don't.
some dreadlocks,
Yeah, yeah, he did.
the short hair ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he probably, yeah. So, I mean, good on him. I mean, he's a
yeah,
part of sports history, but it is funny just like what happened afterwards. Like, typical, like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah. It was because it was him, and then wasn't Riddick Bowe, and then it was who then joined the
Yep.
military, and
Yeah.
and I remember Lennox Lewis came late.
Mhm.
Lennox Lewis had to wait, right? Tyson was in jail, so Lennox Lewis had to wait
Yeah.
and kind of denied his shot at real like stratosphere glory, even though everybody knows who he was. He was one of the greats.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know how you beat Tyson. What would scare me as fighting Tyson is not only his upper body, but then when he steps in the ring, you see his like hamstrings and butt and core, and like it's like, oh god, he's got a base under there, like too.
Yeah. And
That's
his just whole demeanor.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah. I mean, he's a piece of iron. Lennox Lewis, I saw once at a party in Hollywood right when I moved there, late 2000, and he had like 6 bodyguards that were just as big as him, and it just seemed like they were all 7 feet tall. I
yeah.
don't know how you would beat that man. like Lennox Lewis, unless your body like Tyson is such steel.
Yeah.
You can't be hurt. Because I'm like, this guy could strike from 5 feet away with one. I mean, his just arms were so long.
Yeah, and I wonder why Lennox Lewis would even need a bodyguard.
Yeah, I think it was an entourage. What am I talking about? It's an entourage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, they were all in trench coats and just like sunglasses. I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't need it. It was a red carpet thing, I'm sure. But yeah, boxers, man. I have no interest in fighting with a boxer or MMA.
No. So, all right, let's get to our This Week in Sports misery. And this week we have a twofer, actually, because I was going to just do the one, and then on the next page, another thing came. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. In 1945, Paul Brown agrees to coach the new American football expansion team in Cleveland, which would later be named the Cleveland Browns after their coach. And then in 1996, this week in sports history, NFL in Cleveland allows Art Modell to move his NFL franchise to Baltimore, but he had to leave the Browns name behind. What a franchise. What a franchise.
That was like a nice consolation that they got to keep their uniforms, the name, and all that. That was at least that, because there's no reason that Houston shouldn't still be called the Oilers, and those baby blue uniforms should not be. They should be still a thing.
Right.
It's criminal because the Titans aren't using those uniforms or the name.
Yeah.
So like, come on, Houston, come on, make it happen. Like, figure it out. You're a football state. Texas.
Yeah, I think the Titans used the Oilers throwbacks this year, didn't they?
They did. Yeah. Which is kind of sting. It's like, come on, man. It's a different city. Oil doesn't mean anything to the people of Tennessee like it does Houston. It's a main resource for revenue there in Houston. So that's lame. Some of these other mascots, I like the Raven. The Raven is indigenous to Baltimore because of Edgar Allan Poe, but also the Colt. Like, at least leave the team colors and name behind. Jim Irsay took the Colts from Baltimore there in the middle of the night. But yeah, that was rough with the Browns because that's a loyal fan base. They've been through everything.
My whole family, besides my brother and my dad and myself, are all diehard Browns fans. And I remember like my grandfather just being so upset. Like, I'm never watching the NFL again. I can't believe that they did. And I mean, honestly, like because I was like, okay, you guys are going to come be Bengals fans now. Like, it's the only team. And no, they were like, I think the biggest winners was the Ohio State Buckeyes. Cause like they all went, they're like, okay, you're all we got now.
Yeah.
And it does suck because how loyal, like we just said, how loyal that fan base is. And then what was it, like a handful of years later, the Ravens win a Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was great.
I was like, this is
in 2000. 2000, they won it.
Yeah.
All. Yeah. In 2012, I guess. But yeah, that's what, 5 years, 6 years later, and it's a division rival. It's just like, oh, this is brutal. This is just brutal.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping the Browns, the Ravens, Joe Flacco with the Browns. That'd be fun if the Browns were to face the Ravens this year.
Yeah, it was a cool story. Yeah. But that just showed me like how great that defense was. Like, they had 4 different starting quarterbacks and were still in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were favored. On the road in Houston. Yeah. That was impressive. They have stuff to build on. It was kind of a pipe dream, but I was like, oh, Lions, Browns, Super Bowl, maybe.
I think it was all, and I mean, Johnny, my roommate down the hall, like, he diehard Browns guy, diehard Guardians Indians guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
And even he I mean, he slipped the idea. He's like, could you imagine the Browns and Lions? I'd like that would be that's one that none of us have on our bingo card. Like
Yeah.
that was, and I was hoping for it.
The good news is you could, with the pollution in Lake Erie, you could just walk across the lake
Yeah.
and step on garbage. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's where Jesus actually walked. It was just on, yeah.
Do you know
But
Jason Lawhead? He's a big Cleveland guy. Jason
I
Lawhead.
don't.
He's a great
I
comic.
don't.
He lives in San Diego now, but he's a sports radio guy, and
Nice.
he's got some great posts about Cleveland.
Yeah, I do appreciate how fast the NFL, because how fast do they get a team back there? Like 5 years? Was it like it was quick?
It was a quick turnaround. Yeah, that fan base was not. They're like, get us a team here. This is ridiculous. Yeah,
and I do. If I was thinking, because I was thinking that was another question. Out of all the teams professional teams that have been taken from cities, like who deserves to have one back? And I think my number one answer is definitely Seattle with an NBA team. Like they love the Supersonics there. Yeah. Then when they went, and that's OKC now, and they got Kevin Durant, this generational talent, and then the next year they're gone.
Oh, brutal. And they'd won championships. Dennis Johnson, they won in the late 70s.
Yeah.
They were in those titles, and that city has been amazing to their new hockey team. The Krakens, is that what it is?
Yeah.
They're unbelievable. The Mariners fans are so loyal. The Seahawks have been great for the last 10, 15 years, 10 or 12 years. Yeah, they need to get the Seattle Supersonics back for sure.
Yeah, give them back. Yeah. So, well, all right, Pat Keane, we made it through our first podcast.
I can't believe it, man. No harm, no foul.
I think I pitched this idea almost a month ago, and we had to get a brand new rundown. Like, okay, we kind of at first I was like, okay, it's only a couple weeks late. They're not going to know now. I was like, okay, we're a month late now. So, no, this is cool. So this is going to come out the Monday after the Super Bowl. So do you have any dates or anything? Are you anything to plug?
God, I'm doing I think I'm doing Oxnard with Steve Byrne in the next month.
Okay.
As well as Ontario, those two improvs. Yeah. In the next
nice.
6 weeks. So look for Steve Byrne, and I'll be with him, and then I'm in Detroit this summer, but we have time to plug that.
Yeah. We got So March 6th, I'm back at that Senator Jones on that show again. And then March 21st, I'm in the Napa Valley Comedy Festival. So I'll be up there all weekend drinking red wine, and definitely trying to I'll have fun up there. It's going to be a good time.
That'll be fun. I was just up there last weekend. It's amazing. It's green. And man. Get into the wine or local beers, whatever.
Yeah, I know this week it's just been nothing but rain here, but damn, when the sun was out today, like how beautiful this state looked, how green it looked. Like I was like, okay, it's kind of worth it. So
yeah, it is. When it rains in Southern California, it's really special because it doesn't happen. So
yeah,
something's amiss, and it's weird but nice.
Yeah, we actually yesterday at work we got called off. Like my boss, don't even try. The streets are a nightmare right now, and now they turn from flooding to it's just all mud out there right now. So
yeah,
good deal. Well, Pat, we do this. Then we'll be back next Monday with some new stories, and we thank you guys for listening.